I didn't expect that someone could enter my life and completely reconfigure the way I think, feel, and operate. Yet here I stand, facing a reality I never predicted. My future wife has done something extraordinary. She made me cry, not out of weakness, but out of a kind of overwhelming clarity I didn't know I needed. It wasn't sadness, it wasn't fear. It was the shock of realizing that someone could believe in me so deeply that it breaks through every emotional firewall I built over the years. Most people think love is soft, gentle, predictable. But the impact she left on me wasn't soft at all. It was powerful, intense, disruptive. The kind of disruption that forces a man to evolve. She didn't step into my life to make things easier. She stepped in to make things meaningful. And meaning always demands a transformation. I wasn't prepared for that transformation. I wasn't prepared for those tears. But I needed them more than I knew. Every great breakthrough in life begins with discomfort, with a moment that shakes the foundation. She became that moment for me. She looked at me not as the person I was, but as the person I could be. And she refused to let me operate below that potential. When someone does that, when someone sees your future more clearly than you do, the world around you suddenly shifts. That shift is what brought the tears. They weren't just tears of emotion. They were tears of recognition that I finally met someone whose presence upgrades my purpose. She didn't inspire me with pretty words or empty affection. She inspired me by standing strong, by showing me that partnership isn't about dependency, it's about expansion. She made me realize that the right woman doesn't complete you, she accelerates you. She aligns with your mission, your vision, your future. She becomes the force that pushes you to build, create, and evolve beyond what you once thought was your limit. And that's what moved me so deeply. The realization that love, real love, isn't an escape from life's challenges. It's the construction of a shared future that is bigger than any challenge. She made me understand that tears aren't a sign that something is breaking. Sometimes they are a sign that something powerful is being built inside you. So, to my future wife, you didn't just touch my heart, you rebooted the system. And I didn't expect it, but I am grateful for every tear that reminded me I'm still evolving, still learning, still capable of becoming the man worthy of the future you believe in. Real love isn't emotional comfort. It's an upgrade of your entire operating system, because comfort only keeps you where you are, while real love pushes you toward who you were meant to become, even if you can't see that version of yourself yet. Most people misunderstand love as something gentle, predictable, and soft, but true love has never been about softness alone. It's about evolution, disruption, and internal recalibration. When a person enters your life and our presence demands that you grow, that you think differently, that you abandon outdated habits. They're not providing emotional comfort, they're initiating an upgrade. And just like any system upgrade, it comes with moments of confusion, discomfort, and emotional overwhelm, because everything you thought was normal begins to feel too small for the future being shaped inside you. Real love doesn't simply make you feel understood, it makes you understand yourself in ways you never dared to explore. It forces you to confront the parts of you that were functioning on old code, fears, insecurities, past wounds, and limited thinking. Emotional comfort may tell you that you're fine as you are, but real love looks you directly in the soul and says, there is more in you, and I'm not letting you settle. And that is why real love feels intense, sometimes even intimidating. It reprograms your emotional chemistry, your mindset, and your vision for the future. It doesn't let you stay in past versions of yourself. It pulls you into an upgraded model, one that is more aware, more resilient, and more capable of building something meaningful. When someone truly loves you, they don't fit into your life, they expand it. They don't just comfort your heart, they activate it. They don't shield you from challenges, they strengthen you for them. They become the catalyst that forces your emotional, mental, and even spiritual systems to evolve. You start making decisions with more intention, more courage, and more clarity. You begin to see your weaknesses not as flaws but as components ready for improvement. And you realize that without this person, you might have remained stuck operating in a limited version of yourself that you mistook for your full potential. This kind of love isn't always peaceful in the beginning because growth rarely feels peaceful. It exposes vulnerabilities, highlights where you've been operating on survival mode, and reveals where your emotional software is outdated. But slowly, through connection, trust, and courage, you begin upgrading. You communicate more honestly, you feel more deeply, you dream more boldly, you love more intelligently. You start functioning at a level of emotional alignment you didn't know was possible. And when that transformation happens, you realize that real love isn't meant to be a comfortable pillow. It's meant to be the power source that fuels your evolution, pushes you beyond your limits, and turns your entire life into a higher version of itself. A powerful partner doesn't soothe your weaknesses. They ignite the version of you that you're afraid to become, because their role in your life isn't to protect your comfort zone. It's to challenge everything that keeps you from stepping into your full potential. Many people seek relationships that feel safe, predictable, and emotionally padded, but true growth never comes from comfort. The partner who genuinely elevates you is the one who refuses to let your fears dictate your future. They don't cater to your excuses, they don't reinforce your limitations, and they don't allow you to shrink into familiar patterns. Instead, they hold up a mirror that reveals not who you are today, but who you are capable of becoming, even if that version terrifies you. They see the strength you hide. Excuses might feel protective in the moment, but they quietly erode your potential, your ambition, and your identity. When you're with someone who simply accepts your excuses, they unknowingly help you settle into a lesser version of yourself, a version built on fear, hesitation, and self-doubt. But when you have a partner who challenges your limits, who refuses to let you shrink, who calls you forward instead of pulling you back, you evolve in ways you didn't think were possible. Such a person becomes the catalyst that transforms your entire path, because they don't fall in love with your comfort zone, they fall in love with your potential. A future wife who truly believes in you will not let you hide behind the stories you tell yourself about why you can't achieve something. She won't let you give up too soon, settle too quickly, or underestimate yourself too often. She will see through your excuses because she sees the fire behind them, the strength behind them, the capability behind them. She knows that every excuse you make is simply a fear in disguise, and rather than feeding that fear with sympathy, she confronts it with support, with belief, with challenge. That kind of woman pushes you beyond what feels easy, because she knows greatness never grows in ease. She stands beside you, not as a soft shield against difficulty, but as a steady reminder that you are meant to rise, not retreat. When a partner challenges your limits, it doesn't mean they criticize you or tear you down. It means they hold you accountable to the best version of yourself. They push you when you slow down, encourage you when you hesitate, and remind you of your purpose when you forget. They don't allow temporary emotions to sabotage long-term goals. They don't allow fear to rewrite your future. They don't allow you to waste your potential just because you're tired or uncertain. Instead, they help you stretch, they help you grow, they help you evolve into a person who can build a powerful life, a powerful mission, and a powerful future. Their love becomes a force that elevates rather than a softness that weakens. A future wife who challenges you is someone who invests in your evolution, not your comfort. She chooses growth over ease, truth over flattery, progress over stagnation. She doesn't want a partner who settles. She wants a partner who rises. And in rising, you create a future together that is stronger, bolder, braver, and more aligned with the life you both deserve. When you look back, you realize the challenges she gave you were gifts. Gifts that shaped your character, sharpened your ambition, and awakened your true potential. That is the kind of love that builds nations, legacies, families, and futures. That is the kind of woman you marry, because she doesn't validate your excuses. She eliminates them by reminding you who you truly are and who you are meant to become. Tears aren't a breakdown, they're emotional data proving that something meaningful is transforming you. Because every significant shift in your life sends signals through your emotions long before your mind fully understands what is happening. Society often teaches you to hide tears, to treat them as weakness, instability, or loss of control. But in truth, tears are one of the most powerful indicators that something deep inside you is evolving. They appear when words fail, when your inner world is shifting faster than you can process, when your heart recognizes a truth that your mind has been avoiding. Tears are not signs of collapse, they're signs of release, recalibration, and awakening. They dissolve the emotional tension you've carried for too long and make room for a new version of you to emerge, a version more aligned, more aware, more connected to what truly matters. When something meaningful touches your life, it disrupts your emotional patterns. It challenges your old assumptions about love, strength, identity, or purpose. Tears become the evidence that this new experience is rewriting your internal script. Whether the moment is filled with love, heartbreak, realization, or clarity, your tears are simply your emotional system updating itself. They reflect the breaking of old barriers, the softening of old defenses, and the expansion of parts of you that were once closed. They are not the end of something, they are the beginning. A transformation doesn't always start with a big decision, it often begins with a moment of emotional honesty where your tears tell the truth you've been holding back. People who fear tears often fear vulnerability, but vulnerability is where growth becomes possible. When you cry, you are not falling apart. You are letting go of the version of yourself that no longer fits the life you're trying to build. Tears are the cleaning process of the soul, clearing out old pain, old doubts, old stories that have been weighing you down. They wash away emotional residue so you can move forward lighter and clearer. They carry the energy of release, and that release is what makes space for new strength. After tears, your perspective shifts, your decisions sharpen, and your heart becomes more open to truth, connection, and purpose. The moments that move you to tears are often the moments that change you the most. When love reaches a depth you never expected, when someone believes in you more than you believe in yourself, when the weight you've carried finally becomes too heavy, or when a long-sought realization finally clicks, tears flow because your inner system is adjusting to a higher emotional frequency. It's an upgrade, not a malfunction. These emotional signals remind you that you're alive, that you're growing, that you still have the capacity to feel profoundly. And feeling deeply is not a weakness, it's a superpower that allows you to connect, to heal, to build, and to rise stronger than you were before. So when tears come, don't see them as a breakdown. See them as undeniable evidence that life is transforming you in ways that matter, pushing you toward a more evolved, more awakened, more powerful version of yourself. When the right person enters your life, your vision for the future expands automatically, because their presence awakens a part of you that had been silent, dormant, or underestimated. This shift doesn't happen because they force change upon you. It happens because their energy aligns with your deeper purpose. They bring clarity where there was confusion, direction where there was hesitation, and courage where there was fear. Suddenly, the future doesn't feel like an abstract dream. It becomes something tangible, something worth building, something you can actually see yourself stepping into. Their presence acts like a lens that sharpens your focus and broadens your perspective, and without even realizing it, you begin dreaming in bigger dimensions, thinking with more intention, and moving with more confidence. The right person doesn't just fit into your life, they elevate it. They show you possibilities you overlooked and remind you of ambitions you once pushed aside. They inspire you to imagine a future far greater than the one you settled for in your moments of doubt. They don't limit your imagination, they amplify it. You feel a level of clarity you didn't have before, not because they solve your problems, but because they shift your mindset from survival to expansion. You begin to think in terms of we rather than I, and that subtle shift expands everything: your goals, your priorities, your sense of purpose. The future becomes a shared mission rather than an isolated struggle, and that alone changes everything. When someone truly aligns with your soul, your emotional system responds immediately. You start visualizing milestones, shared victories, and deeper commitments without forcing anything. It feels natural because connection and vision are intertwined. The right person activates your sense of possibility. They don't drain your energy, they recharge it. They don't overwhelm your mind, they organize it. Their love becomes an environment where your ideas grow, your confidence strengthens, and your purpose becomes clearer. You start seeing yourself achieving things you once thought were too far, too unrealistic, or too heavy. That shift in vision isn't imagination. It's emotional evidence that you've found someone who complements your mission, rather than complicates it. This kind of connection creates emotional momentum. You find yourself wanting to become better, not out of pressure but out of inspiration. Dreams that once felt impossible suddenly feel accessible because you're no longer dreaming alone. You feel supported, understood, and encouraged in ways you didn't experience before. Your ambitions begin to feel less like burdens, and more like shared goals waiting to be achieved. This emotional alignment expands your future by expanding your belief in what is possible, and belief is the foundation of every transformation. The right person doesn't change your future for you, they change the way you see it. They ignite the courage to walk toward it, the discipline to work for it, and the hope to trust in it. And because of that shift, your entire vision expands, wider, clearer, stronger. Not because life became easier, but because love made you braver, more focused, and more connected to the person you are capable of becoming. A relationship built for the future is less about romance and more about engineering a shared destiny, because lasting connection isn't created through temporary emotions but through long-term alignment, intentional growth, and a mutual commitment to build something that outlives the moment. Romance may ignite the spark, but purpose sustains the fire. The couples who truly move forward together aren't the ones who depend solely on chemistry or affection. They are the ones who design their future like architects, brick by brick, vision by vision, decision by decision. They understand that love alone is not enough if it isn't backed by direction, discipline, and shared ambition. A future-built relationship is created by two people who aren't just in love with each other, but in love with the idea of building a meaningful life together. A life shaped by intention rather than impulse. In such a relationship, every challenge becomes a project, every disagreement becomes data, and every emotion becomes information that helps improve communication, connection, and clarity. Instead of fighting to be right, both partners work to understand. Instead of holding on to pride, they hold on to progress. Instead of reacting, they refine. They treat the relationship not as something fragile, but as something worth strengthening, optimizing, and upgrading. They see each other not as possessions, but as partners in innovation. Two systems working together to create a stronger, more stable structure that can weather time, stress, and uncertainty. A shared destiny isn't formed through wishful thinking. It's formed through shared values, shared vision, and shared effort. It requires two people who are willing to think beyond the present moment and imagine what the next 5, 10, or 20 years could look like. They talk about dreams, goals, and missions. They plan, they align, they reassess. They don't fear growth because they understand that growth is the fuel of a long-lasting bond. They don't cling to who they were in the beginning because they're excited to discover who they can become together. Their relationship isn't built on nostalgia, it's built on evolution. And this evolution becomes the foundation that makes their connection nearly unbreakable. Romance still matters, but in a future-built relationship, romance becomes a celebration of the work they're doing, not the foundation of it. It becomes the emotional reward for the consistency, loyalty, and effort they invest daily. Romance is the spark, but the shared destiny is the blueprint. It is this blueprint, this long-term vision, that keeps them aligned even through storms. They know where they're going, and because of that, they never feel lost. They treat each other's dreams as their own, each other's fears as responsibilities to protect, and each other's strengths as resources to build with. When two people commit not just to love but to a future, everything shifts. Life becomes a co-designed mission. Love becomes a powerful engine. And the relationship becomes a legacy, a journey shaped not by chance but by choice, structure, intention, and the shared desire to build something extraordinary together.